Welcome back everybody to another Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous guide. Today it's going to be the first Ascension guide. This is going to be covering all the abilities that you get on your main character when you first get to pick up a mythic level. I'm not going to cover the mythic abilities. Those are going to be in a separate video, although I will maybe talk about a few of them here. But that's not the main goal of the video. The main goal of the video is to make it easy for you to be able to select the first Ascension ability. So I'm going to cover some basics, of course, about this, and also I'm going to cover this on a more of an, like if you're playing on unfair difficulty, because most of my guides are tiered towards people who are playing on unfair difficulty, but even if you're playing this on an easier difficulty, all the things that I say hold true. It's just that you don't need to min-max your character as much on the lower difficulty, so feel free to pick up what you like, essentially. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of these abilities and how you can utilize them and so on and so forth. So let's jump into it. So when you first get a mythic level, you will not be able to select a mythic path immediately, unfortunately. You will have to go into the mythic hero here. So I'm going to select mythic hero, and then you get the first Ascension ability. I'm going to read through them, and I'm going to talk about if it's good, if it's bad. I mean, none of them are bad. I mean, I would say that they're a niche in application, some of them, but none of them are bad. Of course, all of them are positive abilities. So first one is a bit of fun. Mythic characters that draw their power from chaos gain an ability to create 3 illusionary copies of themselves. These copies last for 1 minute per mythic rank and act like the mirror image spell. If you don't know the mirror image spell, it creates 3 copies of yourself, and whenever you are the target of an attack, that is a melee attack, a ranged attack, a touch attack, anything that targets you. If it doesn't target you, like a fireball, doesn't work against those things, but if it targets you, there is a chance then instead of hitting you, it's going to hit one of your copies. And if it hits one of your copies, it's going to go away. So it's slowly gonna get less and less copies, and eventually things are going to be guaranteed to hit you instead of hitting the copies, because there are no copies. So protecting the character from attacks. These characters can use this ability 3 times per day. On the second mythic rank, these characters become more creative, getting +3 circumstance bonus to all skill checks. So actually I like the second mythic rank ability more than I like the first ability. The thing is, yeah, mirror image is a good spell, but it's not a super high level spell. There are many ways of getting this, but if your character is desperate for a spell like mirror image, like if it's some sort of tank, maybe, which also needs skill check bonuses, maybe, I don't know, maybe we have some kind of cleric tank or something that needs to pass your low religion checks. I don't know. I mean, it can be good, definitely. But I would say that this is more of a niche case. This is not what I would recommend in general for you to pick up. But of course, depending on your party setup, depending what you like, this might be the choice for you. Next one is Close to the Abyss. Mythic characters that draw... Oh, by the way, this is of course related to the Trickster mythic path, but you don't need to later go into the to this mythic path, the Trickster mythic path. You don't make a permanent choice here. You feel free to combine, maybe you pick up the Angel mythic path here, Close to the Heavens, but then you go into Demon later on. That's fine, you can do that. Nothing here locks you into anything, so let's keep that in mind. Next thing is going to be Close to the Abyss. Mythic characters that draw the power from the Abyss grow a pair of horns, gaining a gore attack. This attack is made at a -5 penalty and deals 1d8 plus 1-half times their strength modifier points of piercing damage. It counts as cold iron and magic for the purpose of overcoming damage reduction. On the second mythic rank, those characters become close to the demons, gaining resist electricity 20 and immunity to poisons. Okay, so Close to the Abyss I think has niche applications. Of course, if you're playing on the higher difficulties, a -5 penalty means that you're most likely not going to hit this attack. But as it so happens, there are a couple of ways of circumventing this so that you can actually utilize this attack in a good way. So I'm just going to show you a couple of combos, if you so will, with Close to the Abyss. So first of all, when we get to the mythic abilities, as I said, I'm not going to cover these in this video. I'm just going to show you some combos with here. So if you, for instance, select Thundering Blows, it's a very good combo with Close to the Abyss. Benefit: once per round, when your melee attack misses a target, you deal 2d6 plus 1d6 per 2 mythic rank sonic damage, which is a damage type I haven't seen anything resistant to sonic damage so far in the game, to all enemies in a 10 feet radius. So very, very good. So your first attack, hopefully you have something on the higher difficulties, you're probably gonna have True Strike. You strike in, you hit that attack, but then you also have a gore attack. That gore attack is probably gonna miss because you already spent your True Strike or your buff. That attack misses, but then, even though it misses, it's gonna deal 2d6 sonic damage to everything in a 10 foot radius, which is a lot of damage. that you get for free. So that's a very good combo. You can also combine this. I would recommend both picking up this, and on the next level, of course, you're going to get a mythic feat. And I would definitely recommend you can go with the Destructive Shockwave. Whenever you miss with a melee attack, the target still takes damage equal to your strength bonus. So if you have a really high strength character, which is probably what you're going for if you're going for this type of thing here, you can still deal damage. So even though you miss, you deal damage with your strength modifier, and because you miss, you also deal sonic damage. So nice combo. So if you're going for that, yes, close to the abyss. Otherwise, wouldn't be too concerned with it. Next is also, it's very nice to get electricity 20. That's actually the element is most of in the game. It's pretty much the same as Pathfinder Kingmaker. Seems to be fire, and the second one is electricity, and the third one is acid. So electricity is kind of good to get here. Next here we have Close to the Heavens. Mythic characters that draw their power from good. Of course, this is related to the demon path, but you don't need to pick it up. And also all these things get a summon. But they're kind of similar power level. Of course, it's good if you have a summon which is immune to some kind of element or some attack, because that gives it more flexibility in how you use it. So, Close to the Heavens, mythic. Of course, this is related to the Angel mythic path, but again, you don't need to pick it up even if you go Angel. Mythic characters that draw their power from good gain an ability to unleash a ray of heavenly light, targeting an ally or a foe within 50 feet as a ranged touch attack. This ray heals allies for 4d6 plus 2d6 per mythic rank points of damage, or deals the same amount of damage to enemies. So I would say if you're playing on a higher difficulty, you cannot hit things with touch attacks unless you have a specific character which is made to hit stuff with touch attacks. If you're playing this on a kineticist, for instance, usually kineticists are tailor-made to be able to hit stuff with touch attacks. It would be great on a kineticist that also wants to heal. And also, of course, the kineticists have other ways of healing if you go with some, like the water element kineticist, for instance. So the heal is great. I would definitely recommend the heal on this. If you need a heal in your party, 4d6 plus 2d6 per mythic rank is great. It can heal up you a lot. I will say though that on the higher difficulties, it is a little bit problematic to heal in combat, because often you get one shot by enemies. But in the case you don't get one shot by enemies, this ability is actually amazing because it actually saves something. So I still think it's a good ability. Those characters can use this ability 3 times per day plus 1 extra time for each mythic rank beyond the first. So definitely a solid healing ability. On the second mythic rank, those characters become closer to angels, gaining resist acid 20, resist cold 20, and immunity to petrification. So not the most useful of resistances, but certainly not bad. And at this point in the game, you will probably be able to pick up ways of completely being immune to certain elements anyways, but it's fine. It's fine, the bonus on the second rank there. The next one is of course related to the Lich mythic path, and mythic characters that draw their power from death can channel negative energy to deal damage to living creatures or heal undead creatures. Channeling energy causes a burst that either heals all undead creatures or damages all living creatures in a 30 radius centered around the mythic character. The amount of damage dealt or healed is equal to 2d6 plus 1d6 per mythic rank. Creatures that take damage from the channel energy receive a will save to have the damage. The DC of this is equal to 10 plus mythic rank plus the character's charisma, wisdom, or intelligence modifier. So this essentially channel energy, except you can only channel negative energy, either to heal undead or to damage living. Creatures healed by channel energy cannot exceed their maximum hit points total. All excess healing is lost, of course. A character may channel energy any number of times per day equal to 3 plus your mythic rank. This is a standard action and does not provoke an attack of opportunity. On the second mythic rank, those characters gain an even greater mastery of negative energy. Their insight into the flows of negative energy also gives them an advantage in combat against enemies that have an affinity to negative energy, such as undead or Nabasu demons. These characters become immune to negative levels. Nice. Gain a +4 bonus on saving throws against death effects. Really nice. They gain +2 bonus to AC, saving throws, weapon attacks, damage rolls against creatures with negative energy affinity. Also really nice bonus, because there's a lot of those in the game. DC of the class abilities against these opponents increase by 2. So this is one of my favorites, and the reason for this is that you don't really need, if you have a party where everybody is, where all your animal companions are death touched, for instance, and all your main characters are like dampiers, you have a party like that, then just selecting Dance Macabre will probably be enough to heal your party. You don't need a separate healer on top of Dance Macabre. That means that you can have everybody else deal more damage. So even though it's a healing ability, it essentially increases your damage because you don't need to focus so much on healing. So I really like this ability. Comes highly recommend. Next, Force Reality is of course what's related to Aeon Mythic Path. Mythic characters that draw their power from log and an ability to force reality upon the enemies around them. Every enemy in a 30-foot radius around the mythic character is a target of greater dispel effect. Every enemy, that is. Affecting only abilities of the illusion school, so you can dispel illusions, yes. On the second mythic rank, the mythic character gains the ability to fix hindering abnormalities in his allies. One ally close range is target to a greater dispel, affecting all negative effects. The caster level of these abilities is equal to your character level plus mythic rank. You can use them 3 plus mythic rank times per day. So this seems like it's better than this. You need to keep in mind that these are magical effects that can dispel. You cannot dispel like sicknesses and stuff like that, diseases, anything that you need a cleric for, essentially, you cannot dispel with this. So I would say that this is a niche thing. There are applications for this in the game where it's really good. But I would say, yeah, niche. If you go in with the Aeon Mythic Path and you want to be thematic and you want to have Force Reality, sure. But outside of that niche, I don't see any great like combos or anything with this. Next is going to be Instrument of Freedom. This is of course related to Asata Mythic Path. Mythic characters that draw their power from freedom gain the ability to unleash a bolt of energy from Elysium itself, targeting an ally or a foe within 50 feet as a ranged touch attack. Again, ranged touch attack, you need to either be specialized in hitting that ranged touch attack, or you need to be playing on an easier difficulty, because else it's not going to land on enemies, it's only going to land on your allies. You're only going to be able to use it on the allies, that is. This bolt is 4d6 plus 2d6 per mythic rank points of damage to enemies. If used on allies, the bolt instead charges their attacks with weapons for plus 2 mythic rank rounds. Companions' attacks with weapons deal an additional 2d6 points of holy damage, which is perfect because it gets through essentially all their defense. There's nothing which I think is resistant to holy damage I've found so far. On hit and count as good for the purpose of bypassing damage reduction. There's a lot of things which requires good if you want to bypass their damage reduction. Also very good. This character can use this ability 3 times per day plus 1 extra time for each mythic rank beyond the first. So if you have a character which you really want to buff up the damage to, you charge in with something. If you have a cavalier or something, you want him to be super strong on the charge, put this on him, charge in, and you're gonna deal an insane amount of damage. Of course, you can combine this with other charge feats, as for instance, there is a charge feat here called Mythic Charge. Deal an additional 1d6 per mythic rank. You can also go into the Lich Mythic Path, which has pretty much the same abilities. You can get an insane amount of damage on the charge. If you couple that with Spirited Charge, which doubles the damage on your charge, and Sneak Attack, you can probably deal almost 1,000 damage, I think. which is a lot of damage, so that is pretty much all the first Ascension. Hopefully this helped you pick your first Ascension, but keep in mind that it doesn't matter what you pick here. You can go into whatever mythic path you feel like later, and don't be too concerned about what summon you get here. I don't think that is a great deal. That's pretty much it. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.